Yotta just rolled out a brand new feature that gets you 2.5 times more interest than you were already getting by using their service. And if you think about it, we were already making a lot more money with Yotta than we are with a traditional bank, and so this is tons more money than we were earning before. I get asked this question all the time, which is, where do I stick my cash? Like if I'm saving for a down payment, if I'm saving for a new car, if I just have cash that I don't want to invest, what do I do with it? Where do I stick this money? And Yotta has always been one of my top answers because you get such high interest rates with it. Well, now with their new crypto buckets, you potentially can earn way more money as a result. And so it really makes it worthwhile to stick the money in there. Caution that I have with it is the fact that this isn't a savings account in the same form that it used to be. And so you should be aware of those changes and what the risks are in doing this new version of a savings account, because it's completely different than an FDIC insured bank. This is crypto. There's a great chance after watching this video that you'll decide this is a good option for you, that you want to earn 2.5 times more interest than you were anyway, and that could be really awesome because then your money can actually be keeping up with inflation, and that's a huge thing for us right now because inflation is so high. You also might decide after watching this that it's just not worth the risk. So stick around to the end to find out. If you use Yotta Savings now or you're familiar with it, you'll know that they actually have a ton of features. This app is really impressive, and to me, it makes the big banks look bad. The foundational feature of Yotta is the fact that it's a savings account that has a base interest rate, and then on top of that, you're entered into a sweepstakes every single week to earn prize money, and a couple of Teslas have been given away too. In addition to that, they have features like bill pay, mobile check deposit, recurring deposits. They have no fees. The base savings account is FDIC insured. The base interest rate is 0.2%, which is pretty good. They have what's called pool play, where you can put all your tickets together with friends and then kind of have a better odds of winning a bigger prize. So it's kind of like a lottery pool at work or something like that. You can put it all together and have a pool play. You can have buckets, which means that within all of the cash you've deposited, you can allocate certain buckets for different causes. So maybe you're saving up for a new car, you're saving up for a new computer, and the rest is your emergency fund. You can have 3 different buckets and have them allocated in that way, so it's really easy to be organized. They have a debit card, they have an upcoming credit card, and they have a credit builder feature, which helps you to boost your credit score over time. And now the latest feature they've rolled out are these crypto buckets, which is just a funny term. If you think like, what? You go to your parents and you say, I'm gonna put my money in a crypto bucket, and they'll be like, no. Don't do that. I don't know what that means, but it sounds crazy. Don't do it. Why is it in a bucket? The reason that you would get more money with the crypto bucket is that you would get more tickets from Yotta. So typically the way that you get tickets is for every $25 you deposit, you get 1 ticket. Now with the crypto bucket, it's every $10 you deposit, you get 1 ticket. So you get 2.5 times more tickets. And that could obviously be great because it means that you earn more money. Yotta says right on their website that the expected rate of return for people using the crypto bucket is 4%. And so then I, of course, did the backward math to go, hey, if you think I'm going to get 4% with the crypto bucket, then that means that you're giving me an estimate of what you think that we're going to get by not using the crypto bucket. About 1.6% is what they're expecting. And so either of those numbers is a lot more than we've been getting in 2020, 2021, or 2022. I'm glad that there's no fees because it makes it really kind of clean for us to understand, but I have seen other crypto kind of savings features where they offer a higher rate than 4%. So my guess is that Yotta is planning to make a little bit more than that and then keep the difference or keep that spread there, which is fine. They got to make money. And here is where one of the major changes happens between a normal bank account, a normal savings account, and a crypto bucket. A crypto bucket with Yotta is not FDIC insured. And I thought, oh, that seems like that matters. But wait, what does it mean to be FDIC insured? I had to look it up. I didn't know. As it turns out, it seems fairly important to me. Like I want my money to be FDIC insured, or at least a good chunk of it. What that means is if a bank fails, you've got your money with XYZ Bank or with Yotta. If that bank fails, then the US government insures you up to the value of $250,000, if you have that much in there, per person, per bank, per ownership category, which means they'll send you your money back. I'm assuming that this kind of thing was initiated by like the Great Depression. I don't know the history of it, but back then a lot of people were trying to get their money. The banks were failing. They couldn't get their money out. It was kind of a catastrophe. Now the US government is saying, look, you can have up to $250,000, and even if the bank kicks the bucket, even if they just completely dissolve, you'll still have that money. And the fact that the normal Yotta savings is FDIC insured is great because if they disappear, being a new kind of startup, then you still get your money. And if you want to know more about FDIC insured like accounts and what that means, then I'll put a link in the description that says what kind of accounts are and aren't FDIC insured. Now, technically here, Yotta isn't holding your money. It's held with a different bank. I mean, Yotta isn't a bank. Yotta's just a company, and they're kind of a middleman. So that other bank is the one that's really FDIC insured, and your money is there. It's US dollars. It is staying there. This crypto bucket is not US dollars in a bank account. This is a completely different thing. So we have to right now take a left turn and think about what it means to put our money in crypto as compared to putting our money in dollars. you might be thinking kind of like me and like some other people, wait a minute, if I'm putting my money in crypto, isn't crypto like super volatile, which is the opposite of what I want with a savings account? Couldn't my money go down by like 10 or 20% just at the drop of a hat? Like Bitcoin and Ethereum recently have done some really terrible things. So couldn't my money do that here? Well, on Yotta's FAQ site, they basically shoot that down and they say, look, you're not investing in a crypto asset like Bitcoin or Ethereum. You are using decentralized finance, which is the crypto world, to make more interest, and that they, Yotta, are choosing to work with really reputable people, and that those people should be relatively trustworthy. And then right there at the end, they still put like a little asterisk almost and say, you should still use discretion and caution because there's still risks. So they're saying, don't worry about it, but also fair warning, there's risks. All right, let's get into the details of how this really works, because it's kind of a unique thing. If you're not familiar with the crypto world, I'm going to try and explain this to you. If you are, this will be old hat for you. What happens is whenever we deposit money into something like this, like a crypto savings kind of vehicle, we send our dollars to the world of crypto, right? To decentralized finance world. Don't worry about the terms. Think of it as you're depositing money. So you've deposited $100. Now your $100 turns into something that's not dollars anymore. The company has your dollars, but now you are giving back something that is a cryptocurrency. And so what that means is it is this electronic version of money that has its record on something called the blockchain, which is just a giant, big, long ledger, if you will, like a big book of what's happening with the crypto. And specifically, the crypto that you're getting is something called a stable coin. The goal with any of these stable coins is to track a traditional kind of dollar or traditional kind of money like one for one. So what they're saying is, we're not giving you something that's super volatile that people want to invest in because it's going to go up in value a bunch, or maybe they hate because it's in the news and they don't like it anymore. We're giving you something that's meant to be pegged to the value of the US dollar. So it's crypto, but it's always going to be worth the same as a dollar, is the implication. They want you to feel comfort in that. They want you to feel kind of like this is a good thing. It's a safe thing. If the dollar goes up in value, my stable coin goes up in value. They're kind of two peas in a pod here. They're floating on the same tide, if you will, and they're both going to go up or down in value together. So that means that you should infer that it's about as stable, or the price is about as stable anyway. It has the volatility of the dollar, which is to say not volatile. It's not that crazy. There are problems with this though. Remember, you don't have dollars anymore, and you don't have the backing of the US government to say if something big and crazy and scary happens and banks are failing, or crypto banks are failing, and everybody wants their money at the same time, that we'll make sure that you get money. There's no one saying that. We're completely veering off the beaten path here into the wilderness and saying, I trust you, Johnny Company person, the Yotta of the world, or whoever is handling the crypto for Yotta, because it's not really Yotta. Like, they're not a crypto company in and of themselves. So they're passing this again. Like, they're passing our savings off to that bank in Chicago. I forget the name of the bank. Evolve Bank. They're passing our money over to them in the same way they're going to pass our money over to this crypto person, crypto bank. If something happens and they just decide that, hey, maybe you guys can't deposit money anymore, or hey, you guys can't withdraw money anymore, then they can totally do that. It is 100% within their control to deny us control over that money, because it is money, but it's not really money. It's crypto. And there's also not much recourse or enforcement or justice around the value of that stable coin keeping up with the value of the dollar, pegged to the value of the dollar, if you will, because the implication is that they're tied together and that they won't ever really move apart, but they could. I mean, there's no reason to say that they couldn't. That's the value proposition, if you will. But if for some reason the bond between the stablecoin and the US dollar breaks, and they aren't the same, then you could be kind of SOL. Again, these kind of things probably wouldn't happen just on a random Tuesday. They could. It's happened in the past. But the point is that if something like really terrible happens in the economy, or some country has a conflict and people are like, you know what, I want my stablecoins back, then you might be getting something that is worth less than a US dollar. Maybe you only get 80 cents on the dollar for your stablecoin because the demand is so high and that's all they're willing to give you. And so you have to be able to go, is that worth it to me to potentially have these kinds of headaches? These are assets controlled by people that made them or otherwise have domain over them. They're not as protected and special like actual currencies backed by a country. I personally would hate to see what happens if the company that's in charge of the stablecoin goes bankrupt or has some other like major issues, because I've already put some money into it. So let's talk about my thoughts on this. I think as long as we really understand what's going into this, that we aren't confused by it, that we get the limitations of the service and where our money's going and how it's being transformed, I think it could be worth using if you want to increase the interest that you're earning in Yotta. In fact, at the end of last year, we had some cash that was just sitting in the bank account in Wells Fargo doing absolutely nothing, getting 0.01% interest. That's an insult. That's a slap in the face. Thanks a lot, Wells Fargo. And so I went, hey, let's take 10 grand of this, put it back into Yotta, and specifically take advantage of these new crypto buckets. So I personally really hope that they don't fail. I hope that everyone that's involved is an upstanding citizen, that they have some integrity and some backbone, and that they'll do what's right despite any kind of temptation to maybe do something underhanded. I hope that they're good managers and that they take care of their company, that they don't go under. Like, I have a lot riding on this, if you will. And this is by far the most money that we've ever had in any form of crypto ever. Overall, it's not a huge percentage of all of our money as far as what we have invested, as what we have saved, all that stuff combined. It's not like it's a massive percentage of it. And I think that's the responsible way to look at this. We have to see it with clear eyes and go, this is actually a lot more risky than an FDIC insured bank. So we have to treat that as such. If you're totally down with risk and you think that's fine and you got to have your 4%-ish return, then maybe it's right for you. But if you're like me and you're generally fairly risk averse and you don't have the same assurance that crypto is going to rise in value or that this is going to stay around with the kind of longevity that the stock market has, then maybe we don't do it. Then maybe it's not the right thing. And speaking of the stock market, that's another topic that we need to talk about, because Vanguard and some others have predicted that the stock market for the next decade or so is not going to be returning the kind of high growth that we've gotten used to. From 2009 or 10 until now, it's been just incredible. Double-digit growth, sometimes over 25%, is just amazing for the year. And that means that we've gotten pretty accustomed to getting high gains. I know I have. I mean, I feel like it's almost a given that we're going to make 18 to 25% by the end of the year. And so we've been spoiled. But I think that that is probably coming to an end. And I also think that's something worth talking about. To learn more about that, click on this video right here, where we go over Vanguard's economic and market outlook report for the coming year and see what they think the future of the stock market really looks like. Oh, I almost forgot the secret comment word for the day. It's bucket. These are my favorite comments by far. I'll keep an eye out for them. If you like the video, put a little bucket in the comments. See ya.